NXT Takeover 25 is June 1st. And we have a few things to go over here for the card, so let's get to it. First off, this isn't really a match, but the NXT tag titles have been vacated over the match last night between the Viking Raiders, or whatever their name is going to be in the future. I don't even know if they decided yet, but the Viking Raiders and the Street Profits. There was a four-way brawl, including the Forgotten Sons and the 1-2 Connection, which we saw the Viking Raiders lay down the titles, which we can only assume that means that they vacated the titles, and indeed they did. Of course, General Manager William Regal will address that next week, which will probably be on this card somewhere down the road. Next up, we have the NXT Women's Championship as Shayna Baszler defends against Io Shirai. I say this every time of NXT, but we have to address it because some people don't like it. At the end of the day, even though NXT is seen as a third brand and even better than Raw and SmackDown recently, it is still developmental. So we have to look at it as who's getting called up to the main roster, who potentially could get called up the night after. I mean, we don't even know the pay-per-view after Money in the Bank, and we can only assume this isn't going to take that place in Saudi Arabia, so it's not going to be a week before. It's going to be a week before or 2 weeks before rather, the Super Showdown. So we can, the women's match will happen first of all, which is good. But I am going to go with Io just because I still feel that if Ronda Rousey isn't here anymore, you might as well bring up the rest of the horsewomen and have them run roughshod on the main roster. So I wouldn't be surprised if Shayna retained, but I just feel that it's their time to be called up. And finally, the rematch for the NXT Championship as Johnny Gargano faces Adam Cole for the NXT Championship. Of course, they face off in that incredible 2 out of 3 falls match. But again, I don't know. I really don't know in this one because the Undisputed Era seems stronger than ever since we saw what happened last week with Matt Riddle. Or last night with Matt Riddle, rather, and even last week as well. But I have to say Johnny retains just because it makes no sense for him to lose the title after just winning it. Then again, he did the same thing with the North American title, but, you never know. With that being said, though, NXT TakeOver 25 is June 1st, and we have a lot of things going on, especially with the tag titles, which will hopefully next week we'll have a better understanding of what happens with the tag titles.